Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. I have an ignorant question that I'm going to present to you. Actually, I ask you to just hang with me because we need to go a little farther than what I'm going to say. But prepare yourself for an ignorant question. Are you ignorant? That's the question. And I think about that, and it's insulting. It can feel like an attack when somebody's using that term and asking us that question. They're usually being mean. But I think in the purest definition of ignorance is, if we look it up, that the definition says that ignorance is a lack of knowledge or a lack of information. Or I would say a lack of awareness. As human beings, there are so many things that we are unaware of, right? We do not have omnipotent knowledge. No, our life is about growing and learning in our life. That's what it's about. What do we really know? Have you ever thought about that question? What do we really know? What do we really understand? It's just my guess, but is it 1%, that we really know? It seems like that at times. Man. I send my car over to the the garage, and they magically fix it, and back I have it. How much do I know? Let me give you an example of ignorance in my life. Many years ago, I went on a mission service trip to Mexico, to Tijuana, to help build houses for the poor. And going into that country, there's a third world country. It was rather eye-opening. I was unaware of things that were going on. And here were these people, we got to meet these people that we're going to build the house for, and we got to see their house, and their house was this shanty that had plywood rigged in certain ways to make rooms, and those rooms had dirt floors. And these people that were living there, they were committed, they were invested, and they had made the cinder blocks. We were building a cinder block room. That's what we were doing with the youth. And these women were there helping us, and then they made lunch for us. The men were out working all day, and I gotta say it was painful to see what they were going through, to see their poverty, their lack of opportunity for jobs, to see the little that they were paid. It was painful. And it was also painful in a sense that I know in some way I was complicit, being part of a system that kind of depended on people being poor. Greed, the system of greed. My greediness, the world's greediness. But I gotta say, at the same time, it was one of the most happiest times of my life. Helping these people, getting to know these people, to see that despite their poverty, that they could still be happy. To be part of a solution. How powerful that was. And how ignorant I was. In the first reading, we hear about Peter talking to the crowd of people. And he's basically saying that it was out of their ignorance that Christ was killed. If they only knew what they were doing, if they were only aware of who Jesus was, if they were aware of their selfishness, it wouldn't have happened. The sin of the world killed Jesus. And one spiritual writer talks about the sin of the world is ignorant killing, ignorant hatred, ignorant fear, and I would also say ignorant selfishness. A lack of awareness. A lack of awareness of our own selfishness. I know it's a cliche, but what do we know unless we walk a mile in another person's shoes? What they are going through. What do we really know? We'll look at our prejudices. Our prejudices are just ignorance, a lack of awareness. Our lack of awareness and understanding of the poor, of a person of another color, of another religion. We think to ourselves that these people over here are lazy, and we think that these people over there are stupid. Really. I talk to people, and people just tell me they're flat out prejudiced. That's just the way I am. That's just the way I am. That's laziness, right? That's selfishness. The challenge, I think, we're saying that we're prejudiced and we can't get over it. Well, the challenge is to project ourselves into those people. Can we just get for a moment of what's going on with them, their plight, their circumstances, their resources that they have, their parenting and the lack thereof, the prejudices that they have to put up, the less opportunities they have because of prejudice. But they won't even be considered in certain circumstances. Yeah. The reason why we don't want to look at it is because I believe it's too painful. Right? It's too painful. We don't want to look at those dark feelings of sadness for them, or anger that we have for injustice. We rather smooth it over. Let's pretend that everybody has an equal chance. Let's pretend in this world. It's hard to imagine that there's a lot of unfairness. And the other painfulness is that in ways we can be complicit. The truth of the matter, everyone is a victim. These people are victims. We have experienced our own victimhood. In the process, maybe in our own victimhood, we say, well, I don't care about them. I'm hurt. And it's about me. And we fail to recognize the reality is that we are also all complicit. We fight the fire while we feed the flames. I think about a particular hot button, I don't know, bringing it up, it's become political, but I think it really isn't political. And first thing I want to say is, I do not have the answers First thing I want to say. But I think about immigration. I'm not denying the crisis that is in our country or the effect it is having on our people. Again, I don't have the answers. And maybe the decision we make is to push them out. But to be so unaware to think that if we push them out, there will not be a problem for us. Some people really believe out of sight, out of mind, ignorance is bliss. What is the root of the problem? How can we become aware of the root of the problem? And look at these countries, and these people in poverty, in violence, in persecution. What are we doing for them? When it comes to ignorance, one of the first steps in spirituality is to admit our lack of awareness, to acknowledge that reality, that we don't know everything. And a matter of fact, there's a lot we don't know. The egocentric person says, I know it all. There's a lot I don't know, a lot about nuances about the problems, I'm sure, that you may bring up to me. The first step is to acknowledge our unawareness. And the second step is to turn to the one who can help us be aware, the light of the world in our darkness. Christ, God. Isn't that what the big part of prayer is? Isn't that what it is? Help me to be aware of your presence, God. Help me to see you. Help me to understand on a deeper level. It's with that we can learn the third step to bringing it to community. How we can do, how we can find a solution, how we can find solutions. I just think about the people, that organization. It was called Esperanza in Mexico, and it was a beautiful part of the solution as a community. In the gospel today, the disciples were unaware of the resurrection and the power of the resurrection. That it is dying to ourselves that we will rise. That there are solutions. There is the resurrection. It is real. That we may search for it and how we may rise in these situations. God, help me to be aware.